welcome to episode 29 of Live with the Glitter Practitioner. That's me. I can't believe there's literally a week left till Christmas. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me today. As you can tell, my voice is still taking a bit of time to recover, but I think it's because I'm just chatting too much, essentially. Thank you for joining me. Do let me know in comments where you're tuning in from, because I always love to go back after the show and say hi. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Nupi, the Glitter Practitioner. I am a physician, a general practitioner, family physician, I should say, in the UK. And I'm also a spiritual and transformation life coach. And my passion is providing whole person, heart-centered care, really tuning into somebody else's needs, be it my patients or my clients, and empowering somebody else to truly understand their whole self-health needs, mind, body, and soul as their whole self. And if one's off kilter, the other one will follow. Understanding what your needs are, knowing how to keep them aligned and replenished, topped up, so that they are always in balance. And key steps along the way, which I guide and teach with my FLS framework, is exactly how to do this. Because when you're in alignment, that's when the magic starts to happen. And that's when you are literally fizz popping and you're full of glitter and energy, and yeah, anything is possible. I think the best way to show you how it might feel to work with me is through my brand story, which was created by the amazingly talented Devon James Stinson. And it just captures the essence, I guess, of everything I have just said. So without further ado, I shall ask my wonderful Mr. Producer to play the brand story, please.
Follow the light through the storm. And this is not a light that warns, it's a light that forms on the pathway ahead. So you can maneuver around disaster instead of getting stopped by the obstacles. It just takes changing the obstacles. And then the impossible turns to possible. And then the storm lifts. You're no longer adrift. Breathe, focus, you've got this. Ahead you see a figure, a kind soul, and on the inside it feels like you might glow. Your endless cycles of cyclones have been turned to a breeze that just slightly blows. You're adorned with glitter, where you literally feel like a kid again. And this is when you realize how much of your life you've missed. And then you talk more with Dr. Nupi Aurora, who will holistically change your aura, where you and the new you won't be like strangers. No, you'll be like friends. Because this whole process is simply life-changing. So if you're feeling frazzled and you want to find your fizz and dazzle, then book a call with Dr. Nupi Aurora by messaging her right here on LinkedIn.
Oh, it's just magical, and it makes me tear up every single time I watch it. You would think, actually, I'm used to this now, but no. So today, my guest is an amazing gentleman who I have been connected with actually for quite some time through the Unicorn Connecting group, and he's amazing. He's actually in Australia, and we've had some typical. I think it's all the excitement and the energy that's flowing pre-Christmas, to be honest. So he is here, but I'm afraid he's on audio. So without further ado, I'm going to bring my guest on. in audio. I'm going to do what I normally do, so everybody can still hear him. Hi, Alexander. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from Australia.
G'day, Dr. Noopy. How you going? I had to get that in there.
I know. I love it.
I should warn you. It's very early in the morning here, and after that very serene introduction, I was starting to go into Never Never Land and drift off. But then your glitter hit me, and I'm back with a vengeance.
Don't you worry. I'll be like, come on, let's chat.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for taking some time, and I know we've been trying to collaborate and do something like this for absolutely ages, but it was just with the time zones, and then you've been a very busy boy with your book, and smashing it basically.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show. I know it's been a bit of a perseverance on your part to get me here, and I appreciate it. It has been a very particularly busy time.
Oh, no problem at all. So, talking of your book, Alexander, just tell everybody, for those of you who might not know you, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
So, thank you. I'm a former CEO of a financial services organisation, and I left there a few years ago to embark on a consulting career in leadership. And I guess the reason why I did that, I had aspired to be in this CEO position all my career when I was a kid. So you've unleashed a beast now. So I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey when I was born. So I was born, and then anyway. So basically, we'll fast forward through that part. And when I was a kid, right? I was in my late teens. I went to school in Scotland, of all places.
Oh wow!
As you can tell from my strong Scottish accent.
Yeah.
And in Aberdeen. Apologies for the Aberdonians for my really bad accent there. But in my last 2 years of schooling, I was very severely bullied, and I can jest about it now. At the time, it was horrid, but that's what gave me my calling in life, as it were. And we can probably delve into that a little bit later on. But ultimately, I knew then that I wanted to do something to eradicate bullying wherever I went. Having been on the receiving end of it, it was a very wholly unpleasant experience. So I also came from a very blue-collar, working-class background, and I wanted to be able to achieve and do more for my family, ultimately, than what I had when I was growing up. So couldn't afford a university education or any of those sorts of things. So I set about just going the traditional route, if you like, of climbing the corporate ladder. And did so. I managed to get right the way up to CEO level of an organization, the role that I always aspired to have. Did it for around about 6 or 7 months in that CEO role. I previously had been managing director of another organization. And anyway, in the CEO role, I realized the compromise was too much. I was spending 60 to 70% of my time away from my wife and 2 young children. And that's not what I climbed the corporate ladder for. That's not what I was about. I'm a people person, as you can tell. And that frustrated me not being able to be there for the people that mattered most, my family. So I ended up leaving that role and embarking on a career in consulting. So I started doing that. And then I started to get the formations of my idea around my book, which I had been nagged for many years from people who I mentored to write. So hence the book got written, and we'll probably delve into that a little bit later on. But ultimately, that's where I got to and how I arrived at the position of writing the book was that career, I guess that fork in the road for my career where, you know what, I talk a lot about life-work balance, and I wasn't doing that. I was the balance was all skewed towards work and not to my life. And I made the change.
Wow. And I know you have really skimmed over stuff there, because some of the stories that I know and what you've shared with me, I think I love what you're doing. I really do. I think it's amazing, and your voice is heard. And I think the more we talk about this, what does toxic leadership look like, or a toxic workplace culture? And more importantly, what does a healthy, happy workplace environment look like? Because I think the more that we talk about this, then the more, hopefully, people will take this on board and make those changes.
Exactly right. And I spoke briefly before around my calling, if you like, in quotation marks, and frankly, is and I don't want to sound really left of centre here, but the reality was, after 18 months of being severely bullied, and I'm talking quite severe physical assaults that were happening at school, just this one day I had this, it's almost like an out-of-body experience, which sounds really weird, but it's what sort of happened in terms of at the time. When I had this, I guess, this voice inside of me said, don't fight back. This is now your time. Someday you're going to use this for good. And so basically, fast forward a couple of years into the corporate world, I was actually shocked to see and feel that bullying was happening in workplaces as well as at school. You think that it's just a schoolyard thing.
Yeah.
But it was actually happening in workplaces. And I mean, I don't doubt physical bullying happens in workplaces too, but thankfully I hadn't experienced that. It was more the emotional bullying. And it was rampant everywhere I went. And so I set about making that change. And I was determined to climb the corporate ladder. And every time I did so, create a wave of change through making sure I was able to eradicate bullying. So I guess before the term even came in vogue, I started having zero tolerance for bullying everywhere I went. And I was able to quickly, I said quickly, at varying degrees of success early on, eradicate it through the departments I was leading.
Incredible. And I know obviously your background is, in business, and I'm in medicine or, in healthcare. But at the end of the day, we're dealing with people, and that's across the board essentially. And it happens. And, there's so much it's coming more to light, even in medicine, in, systems, the structures in place. This happens. It's horrific. It's awful. And I think it's, the old draconian style of leadership, which is fear-based. It's just not going to cut it. You're not going to have happy employees at the end of the day. How is that going to be productive? It baffles me that this still happens. And I just think the more we talk about, what does a healthy workplace environment look and feel like, I think this is so crucial. I really do.
Exactly. And the thing that I guess never ceases to amaze me, frankly, is seemingly intelligent people. So the people that sit around boardroom tables and they reflect back on the results of their organizations, and they may tick a box and talk about corporate culture, but are they really delving deeply enough into it to understand what's going on beneath their level? And frankly, what I have seen in my career, and this is pretty much the very fabric of why I wrote I'm Like a Boss, is throughout my career journey spanning 30 odd years, I have worked alongside really toxic bosses who treated their people appallingly, and they were oblivious to it, didn't really care because they wanted to get the results. And what I don't understand, and this is
crazy.
The part I know the part that really baffles me is, as I was going forward with the seemingly intelligent people, is that I have proven through my career, and there's a number of these results in my book, where when you create a highly engaged, psychologically safe workplace, the results are far in excess of financially superior to those in a toxic workplace. So if the people are short-sighted enough not to want to do it for the people, they should be doing it for their business.
For the business, yes.
Exactly. So I've seen, in terms of businesses I've taken over and led, the financial results have been vastly superior to those that I inherited and it's all to do with changing the culture. I'll be honest, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed in terms of IQ. I mean, I hold my own, but it's my EQ that's carried me through my career.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
And that to me is the game changer. And the thing that I advocate is leading with empathy. So if we lead with empathy, so lead with our heart, people think, some people may be turned off by that in terms of lead with the heart. I'm an alpha male, and that's all warm, fuzzy, tree-hugging rubbish. It's not. The reality is,
it's not. Yeah.
It's a game changer and makes a big difference.
You're making people see you're it's so crucial. It's not rocket science. When you lead from your heart and when you're dealing with people, this is what joins us together, be it in business, be it in the field of medicine. You are going to understand somebody else's needs, and you're going to make them feel seen, heard, and valued. And that is what creates this safe workspace. It becomes psychologically safe. What is not okay is leading by name, shame, and blame, and gaslighting and victimization. And it happens. It's horrific.
Absolutely.
And actually, you know, I think as well, oh God, you've got me started now, Alexander, seriously.
Watch out, world.
Oh my word. I'm like, no, truth and justice will prevail. I am Diana.
Well, that's what's like. I mean, at the risk of self-deprecating humor, I've been accused over the years of being a bit of an evangelist when it comes to this sort of stuff. So it wasn't unheard of, for example, for me to stand up in front of an organization of 1,000 people and talk with this sort of stuff about what is and what isn't acceptable.
Yes.
Because I passionately believe in setting the tone from the top. Yes. And even if you're in an organization and frankly the stooge at the top isn't setting the right tone, you can still make a difference, because that's what I've done. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Right. The reality is it's about saying what is and what isn't acceptable. Yeah. And for me, that whole approach of leading with fear, micromanagement, suffocating life out of your people because you're so oppressive, public ridicule. I've seen it all. There's someone who I wrote about in a book, whose name I can't share because I'll get sued, where he had this saying, I want heads on sticks, and he'd try and publicly shame people.
Oh my God.
And I used to say, well, look,
what
since
a
when
dick.
are we...
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
God.
Okay,
it's just so full of ego. Sorry, I'm getting very animated now. Sorry.
No, you're spot on. It was narcissism 101, basically. And the reality is it doesn't inspire people to come to work. In fact, it turns people off. I talk about a lot of the side effects, and one of the most damaging. I saw a statistic which inspired me to make sure that I do something at the back end as well, which is around when through my book sales, I'm going to be donating 20% of my royalties to mental health charities.
I saw that. I thought,
Now, the catalyst for that is there's a study by the University of South Australia. So it's a preeminent university here in Australia, which was published by a British medical journal. And that was that if you work in a toxic workplace, you are 300% more likely to develop depression.
That's
now,
right.
when you consider the fact that there are more than 300 million people worldwide suffering from depression, that's quite an alarming statistic to have to focus in on.
And it's not just your mental health either. Sorry to interrupt you. It's your physical health as well. Absolutely. There are increased risks of cardiovascular disease. It's all linked.
Yeah.
And it's just,
So in terms of what I do, wherever I go. So right now, how I've morphed my career in terms of my consulting role, I do things a little bit differently. So consultants tend to come in, all care, no responsibility, tell a business what they need to do, then they walk away.
Yeah.
I assume roles in organizations and then make the change from within and lead the change.
Yeah.
And so what I always do, I set the tone. These are my non-negotiables right from the start. And it's about zero tolerance for bullying, and I go through the list. I very much believe in authenticity and vulnerability. So that means I will openly share the good news and I openly share the bad news. And I've done it all through my career, because you can't be like have a 2-speed style of leadership where you tell all the good stuff and then you hide all the bad stuff.
Absolutely.
So you have to be very open with people and share where you don't know the answers.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's the thing. The one thing you need to have a functional team as opposed to a dysfunctional team, baseline is trust. How do we foster trust? By showing up authentically and leading by example, which means, you know what? I know how it feels to have a bad day and not to be okay. And I can share that. And it's not just that. It's making it okay to go, you know what? I haven't got a freaking clue what to do next.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's share this out. This is why we have a team. And it's making these conversations completely normal without fear of being shamed or ridiculed or be made to feel, you know, teeny tiny. It's just, how is that going to help somebody? And, you know, the amount of workplace stress, the impact on health, the impact on time off work, it's millions, if not billions, probably, goes in this. It's crazy. But there's no way, you know, if somebody is struggling in a toxic work environment and, you know, you speak up, but you're not met with that level of support, look outside your organization is what I would say. And this, I'm not talking about medicine now, because I used to support a lot of patients and clients through issues of workplace bullying. And I was very much, look, this is toxic. You need the right help and support. There is no way I'm going to allow you to go back into this until things have gone through the right processes, because it's not good for your health. And quite frankly, your needs matter. No job is worth sacrificing your emotional health, your physical health, and all of that. It really isn't. It's
no, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things I've done through my career, ever since I've been a leader, as I mentioned before, go back to the zero tolerance stance I had on bullying. And so what I do with that is I make sure that everyone understands they can always come to me directly with any issues of bullying. So, and regardless of what level it was in the organization at the time, even when I became CEO, the reality is I would say to people, come directly to me. If you've got bullying going on, I want to hear about it. And basically that really tough stance I took on it is what helped eradicate it, because people knew that anyone could get an audience with me straight away. Yeah. And that's what I did to eradicate it, because the reality is life is too short and people should not be putting themselves through this torture of dreading going to work on a Monday or the next day or the day after that. And unfortunately, a lot of people do focus in on, when looking at disengagement in organizations, they focus in on turnover. And I've seen some pretty horrific people turnover numbers. They also focus in on absenteeism numbers, but they don't necessarily focus in on a bigger problem, which is presenteeism, where people actually hate going to work, but they drag themselves in every day and they're just not there. They're there in body, but not in spirit. Yeah. Because they're actually dreading, they hate being there, they're just going through the motions. Yeah. And what happens, the people who are often being bullied then can sometimes turn into bullies themselves.
Yeah,
and then
the whole thing permeates through. Up. Yes.
Yeah.
I was just about to bring this up because it's, you know, it's the drama triangle, isn't it? And you can, it can shift which role that you're currently experiencing, but it's adopting more of a coaching mentality, having open and honest conversations, because the danger is obviously somebody might not be aware that they're making somebody else feel a certain way. And I think that's really, really important to say. This is not about, let's just bash everybody, you know, that these are the set rigid rules. It's about being aware that communication with another person, you're dealing with somebody else, you're dealing with another human being. If you go from your heart and actually just take a step back and just think, okay, you know, this person could be having a bad day because of X, Y, Z. Why don't you ask as opposed to assume and, you know, tout around opinions as facts? That's not okay.
Exactly.
And I think that's yeah. And it does boil down to emotional intelligence, quite frankly. And also it boils down to, I guess, how in tune your leaders are with their own needs. If they're missing signals and signs of their own stress or triggers and they're oblivious, then it's almost like it's just domino effect, isn't it? It's just
exactly. And the one of my mantras, and you'll see it at the tail end of the book, is let's create the environment where every day is a great day to come to work.
Yeah.
Now, one of the key things that leaders need to do is switch their mindset, but from checking up on to checking in on their people.
I love it.
Asking about how can I, so Dr. Noopy, how can I better support you? What can I do to support you? And if you're just doing it as a one-hit wonder, it ain't going to work. But if you're doing it consistently and you are constantly going in, walking the room, checking in with your people to see how they're feeling and create that bond and that trust, they're going to open up. Because where things go wrong is when people are too scared to speak up. When you create a mandate by asking constantly, how can I support you? Then they're going to speak up. And that's a game changer.
The worst I've seen is share with us how you're feeling and what's going well, what's not going well, and then they get and then they get penalised for it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the other thing something that doesn't work and is basically when someone asks the question, but you can see that it's mentally ticking a box. They're not actually they're not asking the question and then actively listening. And they're actually just ticking the box.
It boils down to being present, doesn't it? It really does.
Be present, be authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness me. It's absolutely flown by. We have literally just run out of time. Very quickly, how can people get hold of you? And do tell us where we can get your book actually as well.
Thank you.
Pre-Christmas sales. Hold on. Pre-Christmas sales. Come on, everybody.
Yes, exactly. Available now. Now the book Unlock a Boss is available. I guess the best repository for it is my website, which is www.unlockaboss.com. There are links to all the stores globally on there. If you just want to take a shortcut and then a member of Amazon Prime, then go straight to Amazon in your country and you'll find it there and then. And I think Amazon do the quickest delivery within 2 days. So if you want to get it before Christmas, then get hot tail onto Amazon right now and grab a copy.
Presents, good stocking fillers.
Yes, I've actually had people who have actually bought multiple copies as stocking stuffers, and who have given it as secret Santas for their bosses as well.
Oh my God, I love it.
That's a game changer. I love that one.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Fantastic. And how can people get hold of you?
They can contact me through LinkedIn. So feel free to look me up on LinkedIn, and I'm very active on there. I post every day with my leadership tips and kindness tips as well, and tips on eradicating bullying. So feel free to get in touch there. Or again, on the website, if you scroll down, there's a section where they can hook up with Alexander. So they can actually just put a message there and it comes through to me as well. So whichever is easiest for the public.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Seriously. This has just been fantastic. And I think we're going to need time as well. It goes so quickly there. We are going to have another part, because I think we've just scratched the surface actually on some of these topics. And it'd be great to just have a good powwow over them. What do you say?
Absolutely. I'm down with it. I think we need a volume 2 at least, and possibly a volume 3, because there's lots of deep diving to be done.
Yeah, I think we need an hour special actually.
Yes, I'm down with that. Sounds like a brilliant and cunning plan. Love it.
Oh, thank you so much. And yeah, I love all your posts, and I love our interactions and stuff. So it's fun. It's so lovely to actually speak to you and have you on the show. It's fab. So thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Do not go anywhere just yet. I'll come and join you in the green room and say bye-bye.
No worries. Thank you.
Another lovely episode, according to me. I mean, I'm not my own biggest fan. I really hope you enjoyed today, and only 1 week left till Christmas. So get buying those books, stocking fillers. And I love the idea of a secret Santa if you've got a bit of a problematic boss. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. And just a very quick reminder, you can find me here every Monday on my LinkedIn live show, Live with the Glitter Practitioner at 8 p.m. BST, which is 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And then I co-host a show with my amazing Supernova Soul sister, Diana Londonio, and that is every other Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 3:30 my time, GMT, BST, whatever. And we've got one more show, I think, planned for the end of the year, and then lots of new exciting guests for January. And you can find me on LinkedIn pretty much. I have my Calendly link pretty much everywhere. So if, like my brand story says, if you're feeling frazzled, reach out, book a call with me. And please remember, it's a busy time leading up to Christmas. It's not all roses and everything's fantastic for quite a few people. And please don't struggle. Reach out. There is always somebody who will lend a listening heart, and you don't have to go through this on your own, is what I'm saying. Please reach out. Your needs matter. Thank you again for joining me. Oh, yes, sorry, I nearly forgot. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all under the Glitter Practitioner. And I shall see you for a very special show on Boxing Day, which is, oh my gosh, that's like a week away. I'll see you on Boxing Day. And I'm just going to do a very quick special with my amazing producer and honorary big brother, Russell Hedge. And we're just going to have a quick chit chat, basically. So I look forward to seeing you. Take care. Have a great week. Happy Christmas shopping. Rest up. Look after yourself. Bye.